Hello. Ding dong.
Good, how are you?
Look at this funky setup.
Yeah, it looks great. Step up from 2020. Ooh. That's cool.
Hello. Thank you. Okay, I need to set this up. Hello, now I can see everyone. I cannot see what's happening. Okay, cool.
So, um, welcome to Music Theory with Daniele. So the plan for these classes will be to go live at 11 a.m. on Monday and Thursday. So if you can't join the Zoom, hop on Twitch and YouTube, and you can watch it on either platform there. If you have any questions throughout the week, feel free to post them on the Facebook group. So there's a Facebook group, Music Theory with Daniele, Daniel with an A on the end. And if you can't join the Facebook group, you can join the Discord. And if you want to join the Discord, you can post all your questions and send me sheet music and all that sort of wonderful stuff. For those tuning in on Twitch and YouTube, there is a Zoom kind of going on at the moment. So I'm hoping that will allow me to kind of create a bit more of an immediate, more interactive, discussion-based teaching style, because that's kind of how I work generally the best. So I'm going to look for my stylus, which was here a moment ago. Because if I don't have that, this will go badly. But talk amongst yourself like 2 seconds. Okay, that was true, 2 seconds. I'm going to start from the beginning. All right, so I gather that some of the people on Zoom already know what the beginning is like, but that's okay. It's kind of nice to start at the beginning. And as you know, if you have questions, unmute, pop them in the chat, whatever works for you. Okay. I'll try be looking at the Twitch chats, but let's be honest, my brain can only take so much. So, make sure the keyboard's working, turn the keyboard on, that would work. So we're looking at manuscript paper. That's nothing special. Manuscript paper, that's where we put our notes on. Each group of 5 lines is what we call a staff or a stave. Great. Yep. Pretty much the stave or the staff doesn't really mean anything unless you put a clef at the beginning, which is a symbol that will denote what the lines actually mean. So there are 2 types of clefs: treble clef and bass clef. Treble, bass. In the world of piano, generally the treble clef is attributed to the right hand, and generally the bass clef is attributed to the left hand. Everyone happy with that? Cool. Clef kind of translates or has a root word connection with the word key, which is not quite synonymous with the music theory key. It's actually more related to legend or key in terms of like a map. So with a clef comes information about what the lines actually mean. Without a clef, the lines really mean nothing. They're just a bunch of lines. So my little virtual keyboard's not lining up, but that's okay. That's tomorrow's problem. Treble clef, we're also going to call the G clef, which I'll explain in a moment. The bass clef we can also call... Oh, what was that? The F clef, okay? Now, the main reason why we call it a G clef is because the treble clef creates a little crosshair or wraps around the second line from the bottom. And that line is a G, this one here. So when you see a properly drawn, beautiful treble clef, it'll more or less, oh, hello. Oh, no, bad. Okay, look, you're here for the comedy, right? So the treble clef will wrap around the second line from the bottom. Okay, you just take my word for it. Look at a piece of sheet music that's beautifully engraved by a computer. That is a G line. Okay, so already you know where a note is. Okay, we haven't really talked about the sequence of notes, but we know, let's just kind of make an assumption that notes are letters, you know, which we can talk about later. And that second line from the bottom is a G, okay? As well as our F clef, the 2 dots here and here are above and below the F line. Any questions on that? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So, let's talk about notes. There are 7, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 7 letters, and there's of course variations on those letters, which we'll learn in a moment. They just keep cycling around, okay? So after G will come A, and so on and so forth. So when we move, going back to treble clef, that's pretty good. When we move up, we go up through the alphabet. Okay, so this is a G. This next note will be an A. It cycles around, right? Because we stop at G. Is everyone happy with that? Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's pretty basic just to get us started. And just a little side note, when we're counting the notes or going through the letters, we go line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space. That's what we do, okay? There's nothing in between the lines, aside from the space, but there's nothing between lines and spaces, okay? There's no sort of like made up sort of positioning for the notes. So if we go line, space, our next note is B, our next note is C, our next note is D. How's everyone going with that so far? Yeah, pretty happy? So as you can see, we're going up. I'm going up, like actually, yeah, up. I don't know. That's very subjective, isn't it? What is time and space? As we go up the manuscript, we're going higher through the alphabet, and it will keep going. Consequently, if I go down, we're not even talking about rhythm right now. When I go down, F, E, D, C. Okay, this is one way of working out the notes. Okay, it's about having a point of reference. Point of reference is G, and knowing that the line and space rule will take you up. If you go up, you go through the alphabet. If you go down, you go backwards through the alphabet. So when we're in bass clef, we have our F, then we're gonna have our G, then we're gonna have our A, we're gonna go back, we'll have our E, go back, we'll have our D, go back, we'll have our C. And as we know, this is our F. How's everyone feel about that? Yeah? Cool. So, and of course, if we're going back to like primary school learning, we've got every good boy deserves fruit, and I will take some better options than that for sure, because it's dated. And good boys deserve fruit always. Yeah. So, and if you look closely, good boys deserve fruit. Yeah. See what I'm saying? Whereas if you go up on a ledger note, which we'll touch on at some point, there's our A. So it follows the same pattern. Okay, so you can change the acronym. There's no issues at all. But the whole idea is that the bass clef follows a very similar pattern. It's just that it starts 2 notes lower. Good boys deserve fruit always. Every good boy deserves fruit. And then if you want to go higher, always. Cool? Yeah? And then we go we go our faces, spaces. Okay, face for space. Yeah? That's easy. Face for space. So, for those that are not super confident with picking notes, I would encourage you to just find some sheet music. And if you're on the Facebook group, I might just upload some sheet music and just go through it and write out all the notes. Some teachers say don't do that, but I reckon it's a fun little brain teaser and keeps you busy, keeps your mind busy, which is always a fun time. So, every good boy deserves fruit. Hey, Michaela. Thanks for joining. So many friendly fun faces. And face for the spaces. Please feel free to just pop your hand up or chuck yourself off mute if you have any questions. Now, I've already know good boys deserve fruit always. If you're part of the Facebook group, please feel free to just suggest some better, more timeless, less offensive, possibly, acronyms. I'm very okay with that. I just don't use them anymore, so you know what I mean? All right, and then we use all cows eat grass. Okay, that's just how it works. Eat grass. I don't need to spell that. You know how to spell. All cows eat grass. Cool. So they're your acronyms. All right. So when you're getting a piece of music, you just go through your acronyms. You're like bam, 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 bam. Okay. So you can tell a note super quickly. I'll just open something completely at random. I won't send roses. What a lovely, lovely song. Detect the disdain. I'm sure it's a great song. It's just when I played it for someone, it was a bit drab. Okay, so get the inside information right. Here's our treble clef. That is our every good boy. Here is our face. Here's our E of face, and that's a ledger note, which we'll touch on at some point. You probably catch on that I say that a lot. Let's jump over to what middle C is. All right. And let me fix my virtual piano because it'd be nice if it worked. Look here, buddy. You're not working, and I will just accept that. Oh, okay. You're not even vibing this. Hey! Yay, we're in. We're in. You know, turn it off and on again, right? Okay, so I like to blend piano and music theory as best as possible. You know, theory is one thing, but not having an actual application for it kind of makes it, well, theory. So, and it's nice to actually be able to play something. We look at a keyboard. First octave, second octave, third octave, fourth octave. Okay, and I'm skipping ahead. I haven't really said what octaves are at this point. You know, we'll bounce around a few times. You know what I'm saying? Here's our middle C. All right. So I'll teach you how it looks, and then I'll teach you how to find it. On the sheet music, it's here on a ledger note. Just FYI, ledger notes are lines in space because the stave can pretty much go forever if you want it to. It's infinite, all right? It's an A to G loop. It will keep going, all right, for as long as you want. Of course, if we had lines like that, everything would just be chaos, and we don't want that. Don't want chaos. Everything has to be clean and neat and orderly. This middle C, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but for those that have a bit of knowledge, that middle C is the same as this middle C. Okay, it just looks further away. But actually, and it's like the same as in like the same pitch, the same note, the same key. Yeah, everything's the same. The way that it connects is that here's our E, here's our D, here's our middle C, and the B that is here, because notes do attach underneath ledger notes, in the spaces, as I said, line space, line space. The B that is there is the same B that is here because there's an A here and therefore there's a B here. Okay? That's really crudely explained, but you know, we'll get there. It's 2 times a week, you know, we'll get there. So let's come back to the piano for a second. Piano is a set of 12 keys repeated over and over and over again. What you'll want to look for those just starting out, is look for the black keys, look for one group of 2, and then one group of 3. Does that make sense? One group of 2, one group of 3. Okay? When we find the first group, any group of 2 really, just keeps repeating. We go left of the first black note to the adjacent white note, and that is our C. Is that cool? So you find any black note, left is C. Cool? I think most of you know this. That is our C. So we go C, D, E, F, G, and then we're back at A, and then B, and then so on and so forth. Yeah. So if this is a bit new to you, Alexis, what if
I was like,
this?
please resolve, please resolve.
Interrupted cadence. Interrupted Daniele. But yes. There you go. Cool, great, little ad break. Sir, there's our C. Yeah, have any questions so far? Nah. All right. Probably in a few minutes we'll just kind of open forum and you can ask me all the questions you may have. Yeah. Let's go back to the piano for a second. As you can see, the sharp notes, if you can see the actual writing on the keys, are not letters. Yeah. So we call sharps and flats. That's a sharp. That's a flat. The sharp will raise one semitone, lower one semitone. What is a semitone? We'll get there. Okay, so all you need to know is the sharp will raise it one semitone, the flat will lower it by one semitone. As far as semitones go, semitones are a direct adjacent note to any other note. Okay, so semitone is a measure of distance. Okay, so it actually needs two components for distance to exist. All right. So C to this black note, semitone. C sharp to D, semitone, semitone, semitone. Everyone happy with that? So there's the semitones. For those playing at home, if you play them all in a sequence like that, it is called a chromatic scale. What is a scale? A scale is a sequence of notes. What is a chromatic? A chromatic is a semitone. More or less. They're kind of one and the same thing. Okay. So if I play F and the music says F sharp, I'm going to get the F and I'm going to raise it by a semitone. Move it to the right. That's my F sharp. If it says B sharp, I'm going to play B and I'm going to raise by semitone to C. See what I'm saying? Yeah? Everyone happy with that? B to C. Alright. So, it's definitely not B to C sharp. Alright, that's two semitones. Okay, so we're not prejudiced, right? Just direct neighbor. Good. So, E sharp. E sharp to an F. Bam. Let's go C flat, G flat, and A flat. In that order, why not? So, G, flat. C, flat. Right? A, flat. Cool? Alright. Good. Going up a level. Remove the jacket. Let's just touch on scales, shall we? So as you can imagine, I don't know, deduce maybe. Semitone, semi being half of a tone. All right. So remove the word semi, it's just a tone. Tone is two semitones. Yeah. So semitone, two semitones. That distance is a tone. Yeah. So tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. That is our major scale. Now, you know, you kind of ask, why do I need to know my major scale? You don't have to. Obviously, you don't have to know anything. But it's kind of the building blocks of most Western harmony, which, again, you don't have to learn. Of course not. But, you know, we're here, aren't we? So if any composers out there or people want to create music, it's kind of worthwhile knowing all your major scales and all your circular fifths and how every key actually relates to each other. There's only 12, so it's pretty straightforward. Once you learn, it's 12. It's fine. It's 12. So tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So I start at C, I go up a tone. I go to E, go up a tone. Go up a semitone to F, go up a tone to G, go up a tone to A, go up a tone to B, and then semitone to C. Okay? You don't start with the tone and just begin there. You actually start with your beginning note, and then you actually have to move a tone. So most people get this, they make a mistake by thinking, I actually don't know how, but they sort of move without moving. I'm not really sure. You start with C, and you go up a tone to D. So that's your C major scale. Do not disturb, thank you very much. What is that? I wrote a B and an A at the same time. Come on, man. So, everyone happy with that? C major scale. All right, so that's 1 down, 11 to go, yeah? If you have to write them out, you always start by writing occupy every line and space from one note to the octave higher. That's your first step. Then you ask, should there be any accidentals here? With C major, no. Done. End of story. That's our C major. Great. Good times. There's always a beautiful relationship between the 1 and the 5 in most Western harmony. So, hence we go back to our question of resolve. I'm sure you can recall that, Diona. We spoke about it with Sunday in the Park. Go to my 5, and then we feel like it wants to come back to the 1. So, which brings us into our circle of fifths. Circle of fifths is like a clock. So it's going to go C, G, D, A, E, B, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, A flat. Actually, just A flat, Daniele. Don't overcomplicate it. B flat, F major. All right. When we move in this direction, we plus 1 sharp. When we move in this direction, we plus 1 flat. All right. So we start with 0. We add 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you get to the bottom 3, they're generally expressed as flat keys as well, because you can call any key, to be honest. So yeah, so B is also a C flat major, F sharp is also G flat major, and C sharp is also D flat major. If you want to get into the semantics, sometimes those enharmonic equivalents will create different sounds depending on what instruments are playing them. But as far as the piano is concerned, it will sound the same. A C sharp will sound the same as D flat. Sometimes the string players playing a C sharp versus a D flat will be a bit different. So there is a 5-note relationship between C and G, G and D, D and A and E, and it just kind of keeps going around the circle. Is everyone cool with that? Yeah. So when we're working out our scales, just so you can kind of speed along and learn them all really quickly, because that's how I did it. I was like, I got to get him in. There's no time to waste. Here's our C major. Okay, the lower 4 notes are called a lower tetrachord. The upper 4 notes are called an upper tetrachord. Okay, so a chord is just multiple notes played at one time. So, lower 4 notes of C major, lower tetrachord, upper 4 notes, upper tetrachord. The relevance of that is that the upper tetrachord becomes the lower tetrachord of the key 5 notes up from where you're just working. So the upper tetrachord becomes the lower tetrachord of the key 5 notes higher than the key that you're currently working in. So that's why circle of fifths is important. Took me a while to realize, didn't really see the relevance, but it's just a nice, beautiful kind of calculator of sorts. So C major, I want to work out the key 5 notes up, which is going to have 1 sharp. It's going to be built on G. I already have the first 4 notes of G, because the first 4 notes of G are the top 4 notes of C. Is that cool? Then what I do, this is just for playing perspective, not so much for writing, not so much for the theoretical perspective. Then what I do is I just play all the C major notes first. Yeah? And then if I really wanted to take my time, I'd go tone, 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 semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. And then I go, actually something's not quite right here. E to F is a semitone, but it needs to be a tone. So I'd raise the 7th to an F sharp. And then I've got my G major. The kind of quick workaround, quick in a weird sort of many stepped away, is that all you need to do is raise the 7th. Okay, so here's my lower tetrachord of G major. Here's my upper tetrachord. So the upper tetrachord is the lower tetrachord of D major, which is 5 notes ahead of G. So I play the lower tetrachord of D, and I play the remaining notes which already exist in G major. Okay, those playing at home probably kind of hear that something's not quite right. All I need to do is raise the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, the concept of raising is synonymous with sharpening. Okay, generally, 90% of the time, most of the time. So right now it's a C natural. I need to raise it. Louis, did you have a question?
Yeah. So my struggle with circular fifths and key recognition is that I have certain keys that I can recognize instantly when I'm going to read a piece of sheet music, and then others that I can't. Right.
Yep.
And I just wondered if there was like a mnemonic or something that I can use in order to remember the order. Because at the moment, what I do is I sit there and I go, okay, C, and then the next one is G, and I know that G has one sharp, so that I go C to G and then D to like
Yes.
I work my way through to remember the order, but it takes forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question. So there's kind of two answers to that question. The first one is kind of being able to recognize a key instantaneously. All right. So it's not a mnemonic per se, but there is something kind of hidden in the depths of theory, which I think Michaela has spoken about before, which I always refer to Michaela because she remembers. So now, in order to identify the key, we get the last sharp and raise it by a semitone. End of story.
Does that include? Does that also count for keys that are represented like with flats instead of sharps?
No, flats has got a different one. But does that make sense with the sharps?
Yeah.
I'll try to find some more examples. But you get the last remaining sharp in the list. In this case, it's F, C, and G. And I raise the G sharp, and it becomes A. Therefore, I'm in A major, without really taking into account the actual composition. As far as flats goes, flats go, flats go. As far as flat go, can I find a flat key? Money. Everything's in C major. Come on. I should get out of the 70s section. Oh no, not anime music. I had no idea what this is. Hold on, I'll do it by title, not by newest. I'll find a flat. If it's the last thing I do, I'll find flat. I could just write one, but I like finding stuff. It's more exciting. Okay, cool. All right. So for flat keys, second last flat. Could have just said that, but you know, it's nice to see. Second last flat in the list. So this is B flat major without looking at the composition. So sharps, you get the last. Now, okay, good. The only exception is this guy, F major. One flat, F major. There's no second last. The last is wrong. Okay, so that's the exception to the rule. One flat, F major, which hopefully is in your recollection because one to the left is F, and when you go to the left, you add one flat. Here's a good example. D flat. Happy chat with that?
So E major? No, just D flat.
D, yeah, just major. D flat major.
Okay. So this one I don't.
You don't have to alter anything.
Okay, cool.
So flats you don't alter. With sharps, you get the last sharp and raise it by a semitone. So that's a real shorthand way of being like, what key am I in? Which is relevant when you actually want to transpose the piece or just kind of study it a little bit more. It's nice to know what your foundation home base is. Any questions on that? There is an order to the flats, which I might just post on the Facebook group. There's an order to the flats and the sharps, which are what is it called when it goes the same way backwards and forwards?
Mirror?
Say again.
Mirror?
Yeah, there's like a word for it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah, like Taco Cat. Yeah, that thing.
So, yeah, BEADG. You know, if you sort of extend that to the larger list, it'll create an order, which, to be honest, I don't really use. I was just kind of like, I'm just going to memorize the fifth relationship to everything and then just learn all the scales, and then I'm pretty good at that point. You know what I mean? Once I learn the scales, I have a good idea conceptually, literally, practically what the actual keys are. You know, D flat, 5 flats. C flat, a little trickier, you know, and you will get C flat for sure. You know, generally speaking, you get B major, but you never know. So next class, I'll record all these classes as well, and they'll go up on YouTube, hopefully automatically. I don't know how this works, and I will touch more on chords, and hopefully we'll touch into time signatures. How was that? Any questions? Queries?